right, students, welcome back for 4.5 in geometry. And today we are going to be talking about the quadratic formula. So we're on page 132. So you can write down your notes on page 132. And the quadratic formula is another way to find your zeros. Excuse me, it's another way to find your x-intercepts. And it's a great one to use when it's difficult to find, when it's difficult to factor, when your coefficients are odd and it's hard to complete the square. You're going to use the quadratic formula. And it looks complicated, but all this is plug and play. So you just plug them in and then you just finish the problem. So this is the equation. Don't be intimidated. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Big formula, yes, but do you know the a value, the b value, and the c value? You will, because it's all going to be written in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. So you will know your a value, your b value, and your c value. Now, a discriminant I'll define, but I don't know how much we're going to be working with it. It's just this inside part of the quadratic formula. It's b squared minus 4ac. And what it does is it tells us if there is two solutions, one solution, or no solutions. So we could use the discriminant to tell us if there's two solutions, one solution, or no solutions. One solution would be, it would be a 0. Two solutions is it's some positive number. No solutions would be it's a negative number, because remember, you can't have a negative number inside of a square root. So, all right, how do we use the quadratic formula? Well, whenever we're going to use it, I'm going to write it clear as day on the top of whatever page I'm using. So here it is. Negative b plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And so let's use that for this equation. Let's say we have y equals x squared plus 3x minus 5. So the first thing we're going to do is just make it equal to 0. X squared plus 3x minus 5 equals 0, because we're trying to find the zeros. And then I'm going to go ahead and label my a, my b, and my c. My a is 1, my b is 3, and my c is negative 5. And now I plug these into this equation. So I have negative b. So I have negative 3 plus or minus 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 5. And that's over 2 times 1, or 2a. There we go. As long as I plug these numbers in correctly, that's the only formula math stuff I have to do. Now I just have to do arithmetic. So I have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20 over 2. And that equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 29 over 2. So there's my answer right there. Now, most of today, we're going to actually write our two answers. So our two answers are negative 3 plus the square root of 29 over 2 and negative 3 minus the square root of 29 over 2. And now to answer these, I'm going to use a calculator, and I'm just going to plug it in here. So I'm going to go negative 3 plus the square root 29. So I get 2.38, and then I'm going to divide that by 2. So for this, I get 1.192, so I get 1.19. And x equals negative 3 minus the square root of 29. So negative 8.38 divided by 2, negative 4.12. Negative 4.19, excuse me, negative 4.192. So 2 is after the 9th, or the 9 stays the same because the 2 is less than 5. So there I used the quadratic formula to find my zeros. And that's what you're going to be doing today, using the quadratic formula to find your zeros. So let's head over to the next page. Let's go ahead and do one together. Well, let's just jump into number 5. Well, if you see, it's not equal to 0. So the very first thing I have to do is make it equal to 0. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Negative 3x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. So now I have my a value, my b value, and my c value. My a is negative 3, my b is 5, my c is 6. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write the quadratic formula right here. So I have it right in front of me. Negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So now I can just look right up here. So I have negative b, so negative negative 3 plus or minus the square root. Oh wait, it's b, I'm sorry. So my b value is 5. So negative 5 plus or minus 5 squared minus 4 times negative 3 times 6. Negative 5 plus or minus 25. So that's 12. So positive 12 times 6, I think it's 72. 12 times 6, 72. Plus 72 all over. Oh gosh, I forgot my 2 times negative 3. 2 times negative 3, right? I forgot my 2 times a. So that would be negative 6. So I have negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 97 over negative 6. There's not a lot of room here. I want to encourage you guys to do this on a separate piece of paper. I'm going to continue this one over here. So I have negative 5 plus square root of 97 over negative 6, and negative 5 minus the square root of 97 over negative 6. At this point, I'll bring in my trusty calculator. I have a negative 5 plus square root of 97 equals 4.84 divided by negative 6. So I get negative 0.808. So this is going to be negative 0.808. 1. So I rounded up because that 8 rounds the 0 up to 1. Now over here, we have -5 minus the square root of 97, -14.84 divided by -6, and I have 2.47. So please do these on a separate sheet of paper because it's long and it's going to take up too much space. So do them on a separate sheet of paper. Your homework will be on the module. All right, if you have any questions, let me know.